Hey guys, good afternoon. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for covering us. Thanks for the recognition you give our program and our university, and just the consistency of coverage that you guys provide to us. Really excited and I'm proud of where this team is right now, and coming off of a really hard and tough Tuesday practice for us. We established an early identity and set the tone pretty early against UMass, and felt like we came out with the right attitude, right mindset, right mental disposition. Really proud of how we've been able to improve over the last 6-7 weeks consistently. Feel like we're playing better and better every single week. A lot of things that we talk about in our meetings are coming to life for us on the practice field, and seeing us play with a lot of discipline and poise. This is a big challenge for us coming up. So much respect for Coach Jason Candle and Toledo, and if you watch them, they're very dynamic. They're very explosive on offense, very athletic on defense, very sound in the kicking game, and Jason Candle's done it for a very long period of time in the Mid-American Conference at an extremely high level. I think he's one of the best coaches in our league and really in this region. Just does a really good job. He's a good man, does a great job, and they're well coached. So we got a big challenge in front of us. We know we're going to have to continue to improve, continue to be us, and take care of the things that we take care of every single week to put ourselves in a position to be successful. And we're looking forward to the challenge on Saturday at 1 o'clock against Toledo.
With this big net game looming, kind of knew it was coming to it. How do you think the team handled not looking past a non-league game that you had before this match?
Yeah, it's a great question. We talk so much about not being a prisoner of the moment, but owning the moment, and and staying in the moment and maximizing the moment. And there's a lot of maturity that we've been able to show in terms of just not necessarily even taking them one at a time, but just taking every day, as its own self. How are we want to know at the end of the week? By taking care of our mental Monday practice, by having our toughness Tuesday practice, by taking care of the situational football, taking care of the ball, by hydrating the right way, doing all those small things the right way. And I feel like just kind of step by step, before you get to Saturday, you have to prepare yourself and own the things that are in front of you. And this team has done that very well. And we respect every opponent we play, and we respect the process that goes into preparing ourselves to play our best. And so much of football, we have a new opponent every week, but it's about, us and how we play, not necessarily who we play. So I think the maturity for this team is really shown very strongly, and we're looking just to continue that trend.
What is the challenge or the challenges that Toledo poses coming in this week?
You look at their roster, you see a ton of juniors and a ton of seniors. You see a lot of guys that have played a lot of football and won consecutively in this league, and they're experienced, they're athletic, they have playmakers. They've won their last three conference games by an average of over 20 points per game, and I think they're playing very good football right now. So I just think in and of itself, the individual matchups, and then also from a schematic standpoint, the job that they do, they're very sound in all three phases. And their experience, so they have a good mix of ingredients that that equates to the success that they've been having. So they present their own issues and problems, and we got to just make sure we take care of ourselves and be us.
How dynamic is the quarterback?
He's very good. I mean, he's their leading rusher. He's one of the most efficient throwers in the MAC, and he can just make plays. And the guys that can make plays with their arm and their leg, they present their own sets of problems, because there's the scheme and there's the play, and then there's the extended play. And then the extended play portion is a little bit of guys that can create, guys that can make things happen. When you see playmakers kind of come alive, and if you watch the course of what he's done over the last 4 or 5 weeks, you've seen that be very true about Toledo's quarterback. So there's a lot of respect for him. I mean, he makes plays on film. He can throw it. He can put the ball down the field. They challenge you vertically and horizontally. From a schematic standpoint, they make you defend every blade of grass, and they attack the space that you provide to them, and not just think they do a good job.
What's it like for you guys defensively over the last 2 weeks, only allowing a touchdown in each game after the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, I just think if you've and you've seen us throughout the season, I just think that we're so process oriented, and the things when you you have an end result, and then you kind of look at yourself through a lot of different lenses and say, how do we continue to move the needle and improve? And if you really, seen us from Holy Cross to Coastal, we did a ton of things well. We got the 4 takeaways against Coastal. We didn't finish in the fourth quarter. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 19-17. And really the score that put them up was on special teams, wasn't necessarily on defense. And I think there was a ton of confidence gained from our guys coming off of that game. Also, a lot of new people that have played together now for some consecutive games in a row, and then guys stepping up individually. And then you move from Coastal to really the second half of Eastern Michigan, when we were really able to get third and fourth quarter stops, and then third and fourth down stops in the critical moments. And then we moved that into Miami, Ohio, where we played our best complete game up until that point. And then it really kind of set the tone for us over these last few weeks. There's a confidence, I think the team is, not just the defense, but the team is energized. And we know, every single week, it's about growth and maturity and improving. And I think, we just got to continue to do the things the right way.
Your team's been playing with a lot of confidence early in games, strong start basically all season. Last week, Kent State gets a 21-0 lead on Toledo, and Toledo goes pretty casual about that entire comeback. Is the messaging this week a little bit more about a full 60? How do you change that focus after what you saw them do last week?
Yeah, we talk about our play style and our identity a ton, and there's always great lessons to teach off of, but where we put our energy is on playing winning football. What does winning football look like? Well, you got to have a mental edge about yourself, and you have to have an intensity, and then you have to be able to maintain that intensity for 60 minutes plus. We really look to stay away from letting outside circumstances dictate our on-the-field behavior in terms of, is it raining? Is it this? What are the things that are non-controllable factors to you? Okay, push those things to the side and just play the game. The very first situation in the game is play one. And then how do we, continue to play stronger and better throughout a game and not necessarily let a score or a lead or whatever the situation may be dictate how you play. And I think if you've watched us like against Miami, Ohio, which you have, we were down in that game and we found a way to come back and win the game. If you watched us against Bowling Green, we were up, I think, by 30 at halftime, but we maintained our intensity the entire game. And then we step into UMass and you see a similar output. So there's so much emotion that's involved in the game in and of itself. You want to stay in the mental sweet spot of having just the right enough amount of passion and emotion, but not necessarily letting that spill over into being undisciplined as a player, and just remain in that, and then focus and intense, disciplined sweet spot that we want to stay in and just kind of maintain it. And I think you see a very energized team. If you watch our games, you see a very energized sideline where we know, the reality in football is you don't know when that play is going to be made that's going to really change the course of the game. So you kind of got to treat them all the same way. This may be the play. Is this going to be the play? And if you can just stay focused, stay locked in, maintain your intensity, and then play winning football. You got to block, you got to tackle, you got to cover, you got to execute, do your job, and have the discipline to do your job the first time, because there are no do-overs, and do the small things the right way. We feel like those are the ingredients that kind of go into playing winning football, and we just let the players kind of take over and do what they do.
James Patterson's going to set a school record for games played in this game. Can you just reflect a little bit on what he's meant to this program? Yeah,
going into his 51st career start as a Buffalo Bull. You look at he was one of the, I think, I want to say, as a matter of fact, he was. The night I took the job, I was with Mark all night at dinner. We were eating some Italian food, and it was the night that we actually took the job, and we shook hands. Mark's wife is there. My wife is there. We're eating dinner, and Mark said, hold on, I got a guy I want you to talk to. Well, the first call that was made was to James Patterson. And I remember distinctly the conversation that I had with him, and just was blown away with his you feel his energy and passion through the phone. And I just remember it was a conversation that stood out to me when I first took the job and then met him in person, and you just see the way he's wired. I mean, he's just wired the right way. Some guys just have it, whatever that it is. And he's got a very humble spirit, but a very confident spirit. And he's been I don't have the words to probably probably communicate how important he has been to us and what we've been able to do, and really the history of the success over the last 4 or 5 years that UB football has really had. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. He's going to have his opportunity to go on and continue playing, and I'm just so proud of his leadership that he's been providing right now, and what he's going to continue to do throughout the season. He's a guy to be looked up to. He's a guy to be emulated, and their parents did such a great job of raising him and Jared, both the brothers, and they just they're first class.
James and Sean Dolak, how important have they been as defensive?
Yeah, the Bash brothers. The Bash brothers. Those guys do a great job. I mean, Sean Dolak, I think he's right up there in top 2 or 3 in the nation in solo tackles. At one point, he was the #1 leader in the nation in solo tackles. You walk into a team meeting and you're looking at a guy that's the #1 guy in the nation in any category. It kind of tells you the significance and the weight that he kind of carries. And they just play off of each other. They're just reliable and dependable. There's so much to be said about a guy that just shows up and comes to work every day and is consistent, does their job. They're reliable. They're dependable. The best ability is availability, and those guys have been available. They've been just 2 rocks in the middle, and you see so much of how they play. I cannot speak enough about who they are as people. I mean, just first-class individuals, just overachievers, and even when they transition, from the football playing life that they have, and then the next endeavors that they ultimately end up having after their pro careers, they're just going to be successful just because of who they are and how they're wired. They do a phenomenal job for us.
You probably have a lot of players, if not all your players, play both ways in high school, but Sean was a running back, successful running back. James, brother, he has that access to kind of being a running back. How do you think that helps linebackers being able to see it from the other side?
It's something we actually look for in recruiting. I think like if there's so many great high school coaches out there, and one of the things you want to do is you want to get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. And I think so when I step into a school and I see anybody that's under the center or in that shotgun position, and that coach trusts him to have the ball in his hand, 20, 30, 40, 50 times a game, it tells you the trust that they have in terms of the type of ability that a player has. So, something we look for in recruiting is a guy that can play both ways, a guy that can, be a great offensive player and a great defensive player. We had Trayvon Diggs when we were with the Cowboys, and one of the things that stood out about him was that he was a former receiver that got switched over to playing DB, and you see that translate into the kind of ball skills that he has. So guys that can do it on both sides, and really guys that can do it in multiple sports. Sean Dolak's a guy like you just put a ball in his hand, he can do it well. Like, Cole Snyder, our quarterback, is the same way. He played hockey, played basketball, just does multiple things. Former quarterback here, Joe Licata, was the same way. One of the all-time great 3-point shooters in New York high school basketball history. Guys that can just put a ball in their hand, they transition, they know what to do, they know how to operate, and it just leads into them being successful in whatever job you give them.
A lot of planning goes into all your success so far this year. How much planning went into that forecast for Saturday? It's looking beautiful.
I ordered it up. That's the thing. That's my Southern Texas coming out right there. I ordered up some great weather for you, train wreck.
The throwback logo was unveiled over the weekend. What was your first response when you saw the helmet Saturday?
Well, we've been planning on it. This is a kind of a brainchild of John Fuller and the creative team, and kind of a lot of great minds coming together. Something we kind of planned a ways out, and I think it's been catching fire. It's been catching fire. I think everybody's excited about it. We're excited about it, and I think as much as you see the logo, it's about honoring the tradition and the past that we've had as a university and as a really as a football program. So many great coaches and players have come through our doors and been successful, gone on to have great professional careers in the athletic life and in a professional life, and it's a great way for us to highlight and recognize the greats that have come before us, the respect that we have for all those that have paved the way, that have made UB football into what it is today. We have a national brand. We have one of the top athletic departments in the United States of America. We're strong in a number of areas, and I just think when you kind of have throwback games and you kind of bring a good mix of the past with the present and really a highlight into the future, it's going to be a great afternoon for everybody to come in and celebrate, and hopefully we take care of business on the field Saturday at 1.
Paul show you the tattoo. You got it over there.
I love it. I didn't know about that. I don't want to ask where it is.
Coach.
Thanks, guys.